Okay, let me set expectations right away. If you're here for a bold prediction about a massive Long Island housing crash in 2026, you're probably going to be disappointed. Because my prediction is actually pretty boring. And honestly, that's a good thing. No clickbait, no panic headlines, just long-term data and what the numbers are actually telling us about the Long Island housing market. Welcome back to Long Island Real Estate with me, Sal Catalano. If you're new here, I'm a Long Island real estate agent, and every month I like to put out a market update, taking a look at what's going on in both Suffolk and Nassau counties based on local data, not national headlines. And that distinction matters because Long Island does not behave like the rest of the country. So today I'm breaking down my 2026 market predictions using real numbers from the last 5 years, focusing on Suffolk County, Nassau County, and then tying it all together with what I expect island-wide. All right, let's start with Suffolk County. When you look at Suffolk over the last 5 years, the most important story isn't just that prices went up, it's how reliably they went up. In 2021, the average sales price in Suffolk started at around $483,000. It ended the year at around $535,000. By the end of 2025, last year, Suffolk was sitting at an average sales price of about $690,000. That's roughly a 43% increase over 5 years. Now, that growth didn't happen evenly every year. Appreciation peaked in 2023, then slowed into a more moderate, sustainable growth in 2024 and 25. That's not a bubble pattern. That's a market stabilizing at higher price levels. Now let's talk inventory, because this is what keeps the floor under prices. Suffolk County is sitting at about 2.3 months supply of homes. A balanced market is closer to 5 or 6 months. So even the changing interest rates and affordability challenges that we've seen, supply remains extremely tight. And when supply stays this constrained, prices don't fall, they either move sideways or they continue rising gradually. All right, let's take a look at Nassau County. Nassau is a higher priced, more mature market, and it tends to hit affordability ceilings sooner than Suffolk does. But the long-term investment story is still very strong. In 2021, the average sales price in Nassau started at around $619,000. By the end of 2025, Nassau was sitting at an average sales price of $831,000. That's a roughly 34% increase over 5 years. Again, step back and think about that. A 30+% gain in a market that people are constantly calling too expensive. It's not a weak investment. It's a reminder that scarcity matters. Inventory in Nassau is sitting just over 2 months of supply. That's extremely tight. Even at higher price points, there simply aren't enough homes coming onto the market to satisfy demand. So as long as that dynamic exists, values remain supported. There is nothing in this data pointing to a crash, a correction, or even meaningful price declines. Here are my no BS predictions for the Long Island real estate market in 2026. I do expect home prices to continue to rise across Nassau and Suffolk County. Probably roughly 6 to 8% island-wide, maybe a little bit higher if the interest rates do drop more than expected. Not explosive growth, not a surge, just steady appreciation. I also expect inventory to remain extremely tight, likely hovering around 2.5 months supply. Some of the slower months we might see it get into the 3s, but I really don't see it getting much higher than that. And that's the part that really matters. Assets that produce 30 to 40% gains over 5 years without wild swings are rare. And that's exactly what the Long Island real estate market has done over the past 5 years. It doesn't mean this market's easy. It doesn't mean affordability isn't a challenge, but it does mean that this market continues to behave like a long-term, stability-driven investment, not a speculative one. National headlines don't change that. Long Island is land constrained, supply constrained, and structurally different. We're literally on an island. Anyone predicting a major Long Island housing crash in 2026 is either ignoring the local data or chasing engagement. The good news, though, is boring markets are stable markets, and stability is exactly what the numbers continue to show. So that's my take on the Long Island housing market going into 2026. Like I said, not flashy, not dramatic, just steady, data-backed, and built on long-term trends. I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with this outlook, or do you think I'm way off base? Do you see something changing that I'm missing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. There's really not that many, only a few people watch. But I do appreciate all you guys that do. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys who've been watching. Thank any new watchers. I'll keep breaking down what's actually happening here on Long Island, and I'll see you on the next video.